I'm Tom from Do-It-Yourself Home Automation, and this is a look today at how to use the Instax SQ6 camera. So this is a really nice little mini camera. It's a Instax film camera, and it's using a square format. So let's take a look at how to use this. It's one of my favorite Fujifilm Instax cameras. So first let's load some film. You can see the basic parts of the camera here. We've got the lens assembly, which I'll open by using the switch at the top. And then I've got the film that I can load on the back here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and you can see I've got my empty film cartridge. Now I'm going to grab a new one over here. And you can get these on Amazon, you can get these directly from Fuji. But I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And I can drop this into the back of the camera, and I'm just looking for the little yellow line on here. I'm trying to line this up with the yellow line on the back of the camera, so there we go. I'm going to close that, and then I'm going to press the shutter button, which is on the front here, one time. And that's going to eject the dark slide. So this comes out, and now I am ready to go. So a couple of functions here on the camera. When I did start it up, you can see that the lens extends. Because these are pretty large formats here in the actual film, it's going to have to increase the focal length to be able to capture a photo on this square film. And I like that this is, again, a square format, sort of the traditional, like you would expect from an old Polaroid or something like that. Now we've got the viewfinder here. There's no correction for parallax error, so if you're looking through it, what you see is not exactly what you're going to get, but it's good enough to be able to generally frame a shot. You're not going to get super detailed framing there, but you can get the basics. There's also a selfie mirror on the front, so if you want to take selfies with it, you can. And then you've also got the sensors for the light meter for the camera. Now there's no autofocus. This is zone focusing only, and you don't have any control over shutter speed and aperture, although there are some settings on the back here to change the lightness or darkness of the photo, so basically an exposure compensation setting. So let's take a look at some of the modes we have here on the Instax SQ6. If we take a look at the back of the camera, I'm going to go through each of these. We're in the automatic mode at the moment. This is the selfie mode, so it's going to adjust the focal length just a bit to optimize for taking selfies. This is a macro mode. You can see it's a little flower indicator, and that's actually for very close-up photos. So if you're photographing a flower or photographing something else very close in, then this is useful for that. And this is live, so if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat. Then we've got this landscape mode, so this is going to, again, adjust the zone focusing a little bit so that we can shoot infinity focus for subjects that are more than about 15 feet away. This is a really helpful setting. A lot of people don't realize this exists on the SQ6, and so when they take a photo of a landscape, it actually ends up kind of blurry because it's still set on the zone focus for snapshots at usually about 3 to 15 feet by default. So if you're going to photograph like a mountain range or something in the far distance, make sure you go to this setting. This is a multiple exposure setting, so you can take one shot, it won't eject the film. You can take a second shot and it'll layer those exposures one on top of the other. And then we have a lightening and darkening mode. So if you take one with the default metering and it's too dark, you can go into the lightening mode, and if it's too light, you can go into the darkening mode. And it's basically an exposure compensation setting that you have on there. We switch between different settings on the SQ6 by pressing the mode button over on the side here. So you can see as I'm doing that, this is now into the selfie mode. If I go again, it's going to go into the macro mode, and then watch when I switch over to the landscape mode. It's going to change the focal length on the camera there, and that way I'm able to capture at a different focus point, and I can do an infinity focus. So again, really, really important if you're taking this on vacation or something and you want to be capturing photos of a landscape. And again, I can keep cycling through those individual settings. I'm just going to go back to the auto setting for now. Frame counter is down in the bottom here, so you can see I start with 10 frames. And that's a physical frame counter in the camera there, so it'll switch as I start to take photos with this. A couple other settings. I have a button here to disable the flash. So if I'm in a setting where I can't use the flash, this is helpful. And then this is a self-timer. So if I want to set this up, take a picture of myself, put it on something, walk away, I can do that with the self-timer there too. It's got a flash, and this is usually a pretty narrow aperture, so you're getting most things in focus, which means you do need to have quite a lot of light. So it does have a flash, or you can just take photos in a relatively well-lit setting. So let's go ahead and take a picture. I'm going to take a picture of my streaming dashboard here, because that's what's in front of me. So that's pretty close. I'm going to go over to the macro settings, probably going to get fairly washed out because, here I am photographing this, with a flash at a very close range. So let's go ahead and do it. And then when I take that picture, you can see it's going to eject the photo out of the top here. Wait for it to fully eject before you take it out, and then in about 3 to 5 minutes this is going to develop. So I'll go ahead and just keep holding it on the side of the frame here so we can watch it as it develops. In the meantime, I can take a look at the camera here, a couple more features. If you do want to wear it around your neck, they do have a strap hook on the sides, so you can connect your own strap, wear it around your neck. I've seen a lot of people do that. I think the build quality is decent. I mean, these are plastic cameras, generally with plastic lenses, so it's not super high quality, but I think it's a reasonable quality overall. And this one, I've gotten some sand on it, taking it to the beach. It does have a tripod connector at the bottom, so you can put it on a traditional tripod if you want to do that. And again, you get those 10 exposures with a pack of film. And I'll show you now that I've taken that one. The exposure counter is incremented. You can also see the little yellow line there indicating that there's film in the camera. That's helpful so that you know that you have already loaded a film cartridge into it. And you can see this nice photo here of my monitor with Blackmagic set up and one of my lights. Not a very compelling photo, but you can imagine if you take this out to vacation spot or just to photograph day-to-day life, take pictures of your pets or your kids. It's a great way to do that. Again, though, I really do like that square format, very classic. You don't have a ton of extra space around it. This is where all the chemicals that are doing the instant development are housed. And then once this is actually taken, the photo is persistent, will stay there, and it is relatively archivally stable for the long term. So these are great things to hold on to. I like to use a Sharpie and write a little description and a date on this part of the back of the photo. It's hard to write here, but you can write on this with a Sharpie, which I tend to like to do. So that is the Fujifilm Instax SQ6, one of my favorite